Hello, this is Mikey, and for the next half hour I'll be reading from the January 29th issue of the River Rock Times on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And I'm looking at the front page, so we'll take a look at what's here and then start reading. We have Believe in Black Rock hosts candidates in special election. And then we have River Rock Community Coalition set to open new art sculpture park this year. Looks very nice. There's a mock-up of it. UB physician advises how to stay safe during the deep freeze. Okay, so we'll start with these. These are our front page articles. Believe in Black Rock host candidates in special election. The guest speakers at the Believe in Black Rock meeting on Monday, February 2nd at 6 p.m. Oh dear, this already happened. Well, there's not much we can do about that, so I'm going to go over to our second article, which is River Rock Community Coalition set to open new art sculpture park this year. This is written by Amber Healy. There are a lot of vacant lots in Buffalo. That comes as little surprise to anyone who lives in or visits the city frequently. George Fitzpatrick sees those lots as opportunities. In the spring, Fitzpatrick and River Rock Community Coalition are hoping to break ground and open the Love You Buffalo Art Park in what is currently a vacant lot at 99 Thompson Street near Hamilton Street. A place he envisions will be a gathering place and an opportunity to showcase local artists. Quote, I've always wanted to be involved in the community and make a difference, says Fitzpatrick, president of the organization. The more he became involved in politics and outreach efforts, he noticed how many empty lots were just sitting there, becoming unofficial dumping grounds and eyesores in their neighborhoods. For a number of years, he tried to work with the city government to take ownership of some lots as part of a partnership, but things weren't connecting. He decided to take a different approach and began scrolling real estate websites to see when vacant properties were being sold by private owners. I just decided once in a while to check Zillow to see if properties came up. If I buy it as a private owner, the city wouldn't be able to block the creation of a park, Fitzpatrick says. After a few opportunities fell through, he found the lot at 99 Thompson and contacted the real estate agent. He made a cash offer and negotiated the deal, and once the sale was final, he got to work. Quote, we didn't do as much as we wanted this year before the weather broke, but we did get some old trees cleared off the lot and a fence fully constructed, Fitzpatrick says. Now it's like 70% cleaned up. We have to maybe level the lot out a bit, do some landscaping, and then install the artwork. His vision is to create a, quote, positive community space that's empowering and centered around promoting mental wellness, self-love, and things of that nature, and also creating a usable community space that we can hold community outreach events on, unquote, involving organizations like Best Self and Hearts for the Homeless. Fitzpatrick is working with Art Services Incorporated to put out a call to artists looking for painters and sculptors alike to share their vision for both murals that will encircle the park and a larger sculpture. What Fitzgerald envisions will be near the front of the park and will take, let's go to page 8 and find out what it will take. Oh no, don't do this. Good. Sorry. The shape of a phoenix rising from the ashes. And there's a picture here of lot at 99 Thompson Street. And it's a little bit scrabbly from the street to the sidewalk, and then it's all grass. And it looks like there's two maybe houses or some sort of buildings on each side, one blue and one cream colored. And there's a big green section in the middle of it with a few bushes. Looks like a pretty deep lot, and there's some pretty trees in the back of it, big full-grown trees. Guy's got an interesting idea. Sorry to editorialize. Quote, there's going to be a main path that probably breaks around a big sculpture in the center towards the front. Along the fence line will be artworks, murals, and I have to find out what the city code is, but I'd like to be a storage shed with another mural on it behind the sculpture, he says. We'll have a positivity, rock garden toward the back corners where people can give a rock, take a rock, and it says things like, you're beautiful, you're loved, and you can pass it on. We already have partnerships discussed with art therapy teachers to have veterans and outdoor youth classes here. The park is around 4,500 square feet, but the impact could be much bigger, Fitzpatrick hopes. Quote, we might talk about a stage that's broken down to have mini concerts in the park. I just want it to be used all year round, weather permitting. Ideally, the majority of the murals and artwork, which will be protected from the elements, will be created by local artists. He also hopes to create a program in which some of the displays will be auctioned off, with the profit split between the artist and a maintenance, let's go back to the top, fund for the park to make it self-sustaining. Quote, when I have some murals done every month during the nicer weather, I want to have special events where we unveil the new mural for that month and then have an online auction, he explained. There's already a call for artists on ASI's website for murals and sculptures, unquote. More information is available at www.asiwesternNewYork.org. Calls for work under the Love You Buffalo Art Park listing. The deadline for submissions is March 1st. For Fitzpatrick, this effort and another one involving a mini pitch soccer field near Wegmans on Amherst Street are his way of giving back to the community and providing for the future of Buffalo. The whole goal of the organization is to better the Riverside and Black Rock communities. We've commissioned murals on buildings. We've run community events since our inception. We've done neighborhood cleanups. We've done school supply giveaways. We've done it all. Eventually, one day, I hope to grow it into something to where I can have a brick and mortar and we can be doing community outreach on the regular. But we'll see. Maybe I'll just be the guy taking his dog, to that park and making sure it's properly maintained every day, unquote. Sounds like a very interesting man. Mardi Gras Jam set at Sportsman. The Big Easy in Buffalo's 19th annual Mardi Gras Jam will be held at the Sportsman's Tavern on Amherst Street, Friday, February 20th, featuring Jay Chenier and the Red Hot Louisiana Band, WSG, Banjo Juice Jazz Band. C.J. Chenier, that's C-H-E-N-I-E-R, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, a Creole born and raised in an indigenous American culture with its distinct language, cuisine, and music, delivers a soulful vocal and accordion. Chenier, a Grammy-nominated world-renowned musician and recording artist, has performed alongside many internationally recognized artists, including his father, Clifton Chenier, quote, the King of Zydeco, Paul Simon, Joe Sample, and Ray Parker Jr., the Gin Blossoms, and John Mayall. Bango Juice jazz band's music, call it what you want, hot jazz, or trad jazz, or New Orleans jazz, or just JASS, jazz, is just fun music. It's raw, organic, and infectiously joyful or melancholy. This supergroup is made up of recognizable musicians from various bands throughout Western New York, with a shared love of those old-timey songs from way back when, led by a vocalist, banjoist, and guitarist, Tyler Westcott, of Folk Faces. Doors open at 7 p.m. Show starts at 8 p.m. Tickets are $20 in advance and $25 at the day of the show, which is Friday, February 20th. Froth Brewing location may become a nightclub. Buffalo Business First reported this week plans by developer Shamsher Singh to transform the Froth Brewing Company site, 700 Military Road at Skillen, into a nightclub with live music, dinner service, and dancing. Singh told Business First, quote, I'll be putting in a dance floor, live music, and a stage, and a DJ console, and bringing in an elaborate food menu and new decor. I wanted to have a big place with live music and a dance floor. I wasn't finding that anywhere, unquote. Froth Brewing Company will close January 31st, so it's closed. Pending city and state approvals, the nightclub could open sometime this spring. Last May, WGRZ reported Singh had leased a 17,000 square foot retail building fronting Old Falls Street in Niagara Falls, New York, for Everest Microbrewery. Okay, I guess that's that for that story. I'm going to go back to page 1 and see if we've got anything else going on. UB physician advises how to stay safe during the deep freeze. When wind chills dip to minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, people shouldn't be outside for longer than 5 to 10 minutes. The prolonged Arctic cold front that has settled over much of the nation, including western New York, can pose serious risks to people exposed to it, especially those with certain health conditions, says a University at Buffalo physician. David M. Holmes, MD, Clinical Associate Professor of Family Medicine in the Jacobs School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences at UB, is an expert in wilderness medicine. As Director of Global Health Education in the Jacobs School, he leads students and professionals on medical missions to remote areas throughout the globe. A physician with UBMD, primary care, he is also Associate Medical Chief of ECMC Family Medicine. He answers questions about how to stay safe in frigid weather. What are the most severe risks that can come from exposure to extreme cold? Answer: anyone who is outside in frigid temperatures for more than about 15 to 30 minutes is at a high risk of developing hypothermia, where the body loses heat faster than it can produce it, and frostbite, where the water inside our skin cells can freeze, potentially resulting in permanent tissue damage. Frostbite can be limb-threatening, and hypothermia can be life-threatening. Therefore, it's important to prevent this by limiting the outdoor exposure in sub-freezing temperatures and covering all parts of the body with warm layers. Wool socks and wool gloves and mittens are especially important, as wool insulates really well, even when wet, unlike cotton and other fabrics. Being cold causes blood vessels to constrict to conserve body heat, causing an increase in blood pressure and heart rate. This in turn forces your heart to work hard to pump your blood against higher resistance due to the narrower blood vessels. This is why cold weather increases the risk of heart attacks, especially with exertions like shoveling snow. Who should definitely not be out for more than a few minutes in the extreme cold temperatures expected this week? Quote, first, older adults, 70 plus years old. Second, infants and young children. And then anyone with significant heart or lung disease, such as heart failure, coronary artery disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, and asthma. The cold air causes the airways in the lungs to constrict, which makes it harder to breathe and can cause exacerbations of COPD or asthma. Anyone with confusion or decreased cognition, such as dementia, delirium, developmental delays, etc., in an attempt to maintain core temperature, a body that is freezing may divert energy and blood flow away from the brain. This slows down the conduction of neurons through the nervous system, reducing cognitive function, decreasing memory, and increasing confusion. This may cause people to make harmful decisions when outside in cold weather, such as taking jackets off and wandering outside rather than seeking shelter. Because of reduced memory, these people with decreased cognition or dementia are at risk of easily getting lost outside and unable to find their way home. It's important to understand that even someone with normal baseline cognitive function can become confused if they become very cold. How long can you safely be outside in this kind of weather? This depends on how cold it is, what kind of wind chill factor we have, and how warmly dressed you are. In general, though, if the temperature is with the wind chill factor is 0 degrees Fahrenheit, then time outside should be less than 15 to 30 minutes maximum. If the temp with wind chill is minus 20 Fahrenheit or colder, then time outside should be no longer than 5 to 10 minutes. What precautions should be taken if you have to shovel in extreme cold? Dress in layers, covering all skin, including face, in order to prevent frostbite. Push snow, don't lift it. If the snow has to be lifted periodically, then lift small amounts at a time. You want to minimize exertion as much as possible to decrease the risk of heart attacks and other problems. And just a quick reminder, you're listening to a reading of articles and features from the River Rock Times on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, and it's just about 19 minutes after the hour. Next, take frequent breaks as needed. Drink lots of fluids before and after shoveling. Avoid smoking. Should parents allow their kids to play outside? Young kids can get cold and hypothermia much easier than adolescents and adults. Therefore, kids should dress extra warmly in layers and minimize their time outside to less than 30 minutes. If the temperature with wind chill factor is below 0, then kids should not be playing outside. In such weather, what equipment should we all have in our cars? Obviously, it's best to stay inside as much as possible and not drive during snowstorms and sub-freezing temperatures. However, that may not be possible due to the need to get to work or buy groceries. Therefore, be prepared for dangerous cold weather scenarios by including the following items in your car: good quality snow brush or ice scraper, blankets, extra mittens, hat, and a scarf, shovel with a metal blade, not plastic, to shovel snow and break up ice if needed, a flashlight to help save cell phone battery, jumper cables and battery jump starter, sand or kitty litter for traction, and a small shovel, a gas tank that is close to full, and make sure electric vehicles are close to full charge at all times during snowstorm warnings and sub-freezing temperatures. And then a first aid kit, fully charged phone and portable power bank to recharge cell phone if needed. And lastly, snacks and water. Wow, that was really good coverage. Covered everything, didn't it? Now let's see what the second page has to say. Advice from Kathy Hochul. Quote, power goes out, your house is freezing. You should gather everybody in the family in as small of an area as possible. Preferably no windows, or protect your windows. Just stay together. Bring all the pets, everybody together for the time being, because the warmth of every other human can literally help you warm up the other individuals. And so it's kind of a cozy setting, but if it gets that bad, you want to keep your family safe and alive, unquote, from the governor. Editorial, 822,000 reasons for dual home energy sources. When the lights went out during the recent cross-country winter storm, the debate over energy policy stopped being theoretical. Roughly 822,000 households in the U.S. were left without power, some for hours, others for days, at the coldest, most dangerous moment of the season. That number isn't just a statistic. It's families huddled under blankets, seniors worrying about frozen pipes, and families scrambling to keep children warm. It's also a stark reminder that resilience, not ideology, should guide our energy decisions. Governor Kathy Hochul's push to rapidly electrify homes across New York is framed as a climate imperative. The goal, cutting emissions, is worthy. The problem is the strategy, mandating all electric homes without ensuring a grid robust enough to withstand extreme weather. Winter storms are not rare outliers anymore. They are a predictable feature of our climate. When electricity is the only energy source, a power outage becomes a full system failure. Dual home energy sources, electricity paired with natural gas, propane, or other on-site fuels, offer a practical safeguard. They provide redundancy. When the grid goes down, a gas furnace or a generator can keep homes habitable. When fuel supply is disrupted, electricity can fill the gap. This isn't nostalgia for the past. It's common sense risk management. Electrification advocates argue that modern heat pumps and grid upgrades will solve reliability concerns, but those upgrades take time, money, and flawless execution. New Yorkers are being asked to accept mandates now in exchange for promises later. The winter storm showed the cost of that gamble. Even a cleaner grid doesn't help if it isn't there when you need it most. There's also an equity issue. Wealthier households can afford backup batteries, generators, and home retrofits. Working-class families and seniors cannot. For them, a dual fuel system may be the only realistic form of backup. Policies that eliminate those options don't just increase risk, they concentrate it among the most vulnerable. None of this means abandoning climate goals. It means sequencing them responsibly. Encourage electrification where it makes sense. Invest aggressively in grid hardening and local generation. Expand efficiency programs that lower overall energy demand. But don't ban the very system that provide resilience during emergencies, especially before alternatives are proven at scale. Energy policy should be judged by how it performs on the worst day, not the best. The recent storm delivered a stress test, and the results were sobering. 822,000 reasons should be enough to pause, reassess, and choose a path that values reliability alongside sustainability. New York can lead on climate without leaving its residents in the cold. Dual home energy sources are not a step backward. They are a bridge to a cleaner future that people can actually survive. And this was written, it says editorial, so I guess it's the River Rock Times editorial board. Nicely written. Okay. Now let's see. Oh boy. Perspectives. Report. New York leads nation in taxes and spending. And this is written by Chris Wade. New York and its municipalities are among the nation's top taxers and highest spenders, which is contributing to an exodus of taxpayers fleeing to lower tax states, according to a new watchdog report. The report by the Citizen Budget Commission, a nonpartisan watchdog group, found that New York State and local governments collected an average of $12,495 a year per capita, the highest in the nation, in 2023, and $153 per 1,000 of personal income, the second highest in the nation. The state and municipalities also are the third highest spenders per capita in the country, the group said. Quote, combined with affordability challenges, public safety concerns, and uneven public services, these fiscal facts threaten New York's competitive advantage for residents and businesses, the report's authors wrote. The report said New York's personal income tax collection in 2023 were 112% higher than the national average, 35% higher than Massachusetts, and 54% higher than California. It also collected the highest corporate taxes per $1,000 of state gross domestic product in the nation, 40% higher than New Jersey and 50% higher than Connecticut. The state and local government also spent more per capita, $15,894, almost $16,000, than 47 states, 40% higher than the national average, or $11,385, 17% more than Massachusetts, 32% more than New Jersey, and 92% more than Florida, according to the report. That's in the state and local government per capita. Wow. New York's population is shrinking, with hundreds of thousands of residents fleeing to Florida, New Jersey, and other low-tax states, according to the latest U.S. Census figures. The population decline has major implications for the state's revenue and tax collections, federal data shows. The nonpartisan commission has long argued that New York's outmigration is driven largely by the state's highest in the nation tax burden, a business sector struggling under excessive regulations and rising labor costs. New York has graduated individual income tax with rates ranging from 4% 8% to 10.90%. There are also cities, towns, and counties that collect local income taxes. New York is facing.
Good morning. Welcome to another broadcast day of the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading